Hi, this is Alan Chenworth. My wife Tanya's filming. We're in Ponta Delgada in the Azores. The Azores were discovered in 1427. The island we're on is Sao Miguel, and it was discovered in 1432. And the Portuguese king had the island colonized, maybe a decade later. We are in Borges Park. We tried getting a film down in the city, but it was just too noisy. Now, the Azores are a group of 9 islands, with Santa Maria being the first island discovered and the southernmost. Sao Miguel is the largest island, and the next island to the northwest. Flores is about 400 miles further to the west, so it's spread out over quite a distance. The islands are cool and pleasant, running from probably the 40s and 50s in the winter to the 70s, mid-70s, early 80s in high summer, and they're relatively humid, running 60 to 80% humidity. The weather here variable. It rains sometimes, it's sunny sometimes, and it's windy a lot of the time, and that's all in the same day. And we've yet to see a day here without any rain. Some of the interesting things about the Azores, we wrote a few of them down. All the buildings here are concrete, and or brick. I guess most of them are actually a brick stone made out of lava rock, similar to this. They brick and mortar up. And the new buildings are concrete. Due to this, a large segment of the population works in construction, either in roads, maintenance, or actually as a mason building. The island is relatively poor. About 80% of the people, at least that's what I'm told, make minimum wage, which is about 100 euros a month. Or, in American terms, it's about $25 a day. However, even with this low income, they can live relatively well because the island is rich in produce and agriculture and fish. So they can eat well, cost of living is very low. Pretty much everything except automobile-related items are very inexpensive. Travel is also relatively expensive. Most of the people here have not been to the other islands. It's cheaper to fly to Portugal and mainland Europe than it is to fly to some of these other islands. If you're sick here, the pharmacies have everything you're going to need, and you don't need to go to the doctor. If you need antibiotics, if you need whatever, just go to the pharmacy, talk to the pharmacist, they'll get you what you need. It's a lot more liberal here than it is in the US. The cars, you're going to go driving around town. Gasoline's about $5 a gallon. They sell it by the liter. Right now, May 2016, it's $1 a liter. And kind of expensive. It's mostly tax. So even though the price of oil is low, the price of gasoline is still high because taxes didn't change. But even worse is oil. We bought a quart of oil. It cost us 17 euros, or close to $20 for 1 quart. So watch your driving. Even our rental car, we paid, I think, 188 for the car, but then they tacked on $80 worth of fees, so it's 260 bucks. And then there was something else, I don't know what it was. And when we returned the car, you have to pay for miles. We ended up at 320 bucks. And we only had the car for 4 days. But it was well worth having. A lot of the places here are hard to get to without a car. Now, there are buses, they go all over the island, but you have to have a timetable and you have to follow it or you will get left behind. And there's a lot of places you want to go that are just out of town. You can't get there without a car. We had a church on the hill today. It would take us an hour to walk there, and we had an hour and a half to get the bus. So we didn't have time to go see the church and come back. Streets here are very narrow. A lot of them are one way. To get to our hotel, we have to go all the way down a one-way street, and when we leave, we have to go the other way, all the way out, and if we forget something, we have to go halfway around the city to get back. We were in the town of Furnace. We went around town 3 times before we found where we were going, because it's all one-way roads. Here, cash is king. There's ATMs everywhere, but everyone takes cash for everything. If you go to the ATM, to minimize the fees you're going to pay, take as large amount of money out of the machine as is allowed. We did talk about the food. The food here is awesome. Potatoes, beef, pork is huge, big pork country. Fish, some of their native foods, the Portuguese soup, fantastic. Boiled potatoes are common, and then there's the whole fish menu. If you're into fish, this is the place for you. We've been here for about a week. We absolutely love the place and are hoping to come back next year and see more of this island and some of the others. There's a number of hikes and trails you can do, caves to explore, fishing, swimming, hot springs, Furnace. There's hot springs resorts. You can go swim in them. This place is amazing. The language is Portuguese. Don't worry if you don't speak Portuguese. Everyone here speaks English. You know, probably 70–80% of the people here do speak English, or at least enough to get by. And if you speak Portuguese, especially if it's Brazilian Portuguese, beware. The accent here is very different. They actually speak with a French accent, and it can be very difficult to understand if you're not familiar with it. But if you have a chance to come to the Azores, please do. You won't regret it.